Hey, welcome to another episode of 10 with Tom. My name is Tom, and this is where we get to explore faith 10 minutes at a time. Today, I want to talk about Dear God. So, something you may not know about me is that I actually secretly love hip hop and rap. One of my favorite artists is actually a Christian rapper by the name of NF, and he's great. His lyrics are amazing, but partly because I can actually listen to it in the car with my kids because there's no swearing, because most of the other stuff's got lots of swearing. But there's a song by Dax called Dear God, and just a kind of warning up front, this one does have quite a bit of swearing. It's very raw, it's very real, and he essentially writes a letter to God, and he asks God these questions. And I just think it's so powerful, it's so profound. He says, Dear God, there's a lot of questions that I have about the past. Tell me what's real, tell me what's fake. Why is everything about you a debate? He says this, what's the point of love? Every time I've showed it, I was broken and it forced me to only want to hate. Why is there only one you but multiple religions? Why does every conversation end in division? Why does everybody want to tell you how to live, but they won't listen to the same message that they're giving? Tell me how to feel. Tell me what's wrong. I tried to call, pick up the phone. I'm on my own. Everybody said you're coming back. Then man, why is it taking so long? Why do I hurt? Why is there pain? Why does everything good always have to change? Why does everybody try to profit off another man's work, then destroying it just for monetary gain? I mean, can you feel the pain in his questions? He says, Dear God, where were you when I needed it? When I messed up and repeated it? I remember telling you my goals and my dreams, but you didn't even answer, so I guess you didn't believe in it. I don't want religion, I need spirituality. I don't want a church, I need people to call a family. And then he says this, he says, Dear God, how do I take this darkness and turn it into light? How do I believe in a concept where I speak to a man I've never seen with my own two eyes? How do I know that religion wasn't made just to separate the world and create a whole disguise, just to keep us in chains while the rich get richer and the poor pray to you and perpetuate a lie? How do I know this ain't some big joke? How can I have faith when there is no hope? How does one man have $100 billion and we still have people on the street that are broke? Dear God, do you hear me? I mean, there's more in the song, and when you first hear it, it's pretty jarring. It's kind of like, on the nose, it's in your face. But in some ways, it's why I love the song, because it's just so honest. And I think so many of the questions that he's asking here, many of us, in fact, all of us, I imagine, have asked at some point in our lives, right? As a pastor, I get asked this question a lot. How does a good God allow suffering? And while I think there are no easy answers to this question, I think it's safe to say that much of the suffering in our world is directly or indirectly the result of human choice. I mean, choice that often goes against God's plan and desire for our lives. If a person is victimized by crime or war, when someone is abused physically or emotionally or spiritually, when a child is abandoned, somewhere along the line, someone is making a choice that you could say is anti-God. And then, of course, there are things that just happen, and there seems to be no cause or effect, just the result of a fallen, broken world. I think it's why Jesus taught us to pray, your kingdom come, your will be done, because heaven knows we need more of God's kingdom at work here on earth as it is in heaven. And I realize none of this adequately answers the question, how does a good God allow suffering? But when I look at the life of Jesus, what he came to do, how he lived, what he showed us about what God is like, what he is like, how he ultimately suffered for our sake, what it does tell us is what the answer isn't. It can't be that he doesn't love us. It can't be that he doesn't care, that he isn't involved. As Tim Keller writes, he says, it can't be that God is indifferent or detached from our condition. God takes our misery and suffering so seriously that he was willing to take it on himself. Again, while this doesn't fully answer the question of pain, I think it creates a sense of a solidarity in suffering, and it produces compassion in us like only pain can. I mean, think about it. Anyone who's ever experienced, infertility or anxiety or depression or gone through chemotherapy or had a miscarriage, that person, those people are often they have a built-in intrinsic compassion for anyone who's going through or been through that kind of thing. And it's often those people who are best positioned to help others go through similar struggles. And so in that, it becomes redemptive in a way. As Ian Simpkins, a pastor in the States, says, he says, the most painful part of your story might be the most life-giving part of someone else's. Suffering can break us, or it can break us open. So my appeal to you today is to keep asking the questions, like Dax in his song, to keep wrestling with God, to keep pouring out your heart to Him, keep pouring out your pain to Him. God is not afraid of our questions nor our tears. In fact, He welcomes them. He says, "Come to me, all who are weary and carry heavy burdens." He weeps with us. It says He bottles our tears up and keeps every single one of us, or one of them. And while Christianity doesn't always give us an answer to those kinds of questions, I think ultimately it gives us something much better. And that is a companion in our suffering. A God who came down, who experienced what we experience, who knows the pain of sin and struggle. A God who is with us and who promises us He will never leave us nor forsake us. And I think in the long run, that may mean a whole lot more than some kind of trite answer. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of 10 with Tom. This is actually episode number 50. Can you believe it? 2022, we've done 50 episodes of 10 with Tom. I hope that even if just one has been helpful for you. And so like, subscribe, share, and maybe this message is meant for, not even for you, maybe it's meant for someone else, and you just get to share it with them. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you all again in the new year.